And I just remember going, I cannot fail. I cannot fail. This will wipe me out. It'll wipe what little bit of a company I had started on the syndication side. I just can't do it. And just literally, I figured something out. There's always a solution. Always, always, always. It's just how far are you going to go to ask the right questions? How are you going to persevere? But I knew that I would find a way to get out of this. And sure enough, we did. We did.
Welcome to the Build It to Billions podcast, where we guide successful entrepreneurs and investors on their journey from millions to billions. We believe that the key to scaling your business and compounding your wealth starts every day with a mindset of stewardship over ownership and applying billionaire principles. Our ultimate goal? To help you scale and compound your wealth and your impact so you can give more or all of it away. I'm your host today, Brett Swartz, and each and every episode we're joined by some of the best entrepreneurs, millionaires, and billionaires. They share their principles, values, secrets, and wisdom, providing each of us with the insights we need to reach the next level of success and impact. I'm excited about our next guest. He is out of the great state of Texas, and he is an industry leader and entrepreneur with more than 20 plus years of real estate experience and over $1 billion in sponsored projects. Having gone through several major market shifts in the last 2 decades, he has led companies to pivot and deliver exceptional returns in multifamily assets by processing niche expertise in public-private partnerships. He's co-founded Club Capital and is responsible for equity investments, partnership relationships, business development, capital raising, and so much more. Please welcome to the show with me, Darren Davis. Darren, how are we doing today?
Hello, Brett. How are you this fine Monday morning?
Doing well, better than I deserve. Good.
Yeah. I think it's like Monday mornings are always the best. Always the best.
They are, yeah. You got a fresh opportunity to make some great things happen during the week, and so if you have a restful week, and I did, so excited to get to dive into today's topic, which we're going to be talking about how equity is oxygen. And everyone seems to be starving for breath, right? And ways to actually practically, use pref equity as ways to solve for this, or even capitalize on it. But let's start before we go to that, Darren. Talk a little bit about your story and your focus. Just share with our audience who's getting to know you for the first time.
Yeah. So my story's not probably super, super crazy, but I literally was, after I came out of college, I kind of took your standard sales and marketing job with a business degree, went through about the first 15 years, real successful at selling. I was in financial services and software. And I just remember the amount of hours I was putting in to those jobs Monday through Friday. And I thought, I don't have a life. And then I had a life that my father passed away a little prematurely. And it literally kind of woke me up. And I said, I've got to do something different. And I didn't even know what different was. I just said, I cannot be on a plane Monday morning and get home Friday night and expect to have any type of quality of life. Now, I was making great money. I was having a great time. In fact, my last little real sales job was out in San Francisco. But I was literally driving down the highway from San Francisco to San Jose at the time, and a radio program was on. I'm a big AM radio listening guy. That was our education back then with books on tape. But I'm listening to this guy talk about real estate, and I'm going, this is fascinating. And it wasn't the real estate that caught my attention. It was the shift in the way I thought about things. And I literally was going, that's it. And I mean, as I pulled into my parking lot of our office, there was still like 10 minutes left on the radio program. I just sat in the car and listened because I didn't know how to find this guy. I didn't know anything about it. And sure enough, it was Robert Kiyosaki talking about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I just went, that makes so much sense. So I went on a 2 year, I'm going to figure it out. I don't know what it is, but I went on a 2.5 year personal journey to say, hey, I've got to do something different. And then by 2002, I had pivoted into real estate. And that's what started this whole transition into my life. One of the best decisions I ever made.
Absolutely. I can't wait to dive into your wisdom and your thoughts on everything we're talking about today. And by the way, you can learn more about Mr. Darren Davis by going to clubcapital.co. That's clubcapital.co. Before we dive into the topic, though, Darren, I'll take one other step back. I believe you've all been given certain gifts in this life, and these gifts have been given to us to be a blessing and help to others. So going back to the younger days as well, what do you feel is maybe the one or two super strengths or gifts that you were given, and how does that help how you help and bless people today?
Yeah, I got to tell you the thing that just sits in me, things that are important to you in the world, it's usually, there's usually these pain points that you receive. Okay. And I just remember, and really what really launched me and really said, I've got this, I'm in control now, was in 2008, 2009. We had the Great Recession. Um, I am sitting there with a lot of my own personal money and a few of my investors' personal money uh, in a deal. And then the financial world's collapsed, the real estate world's collapsed. And it was a commercial real estate deal. And I just remember going, I cannot fail. I cannot fail. This will wipe me out. It'll wipe what little bit of a company I had started on the syndication side. I just can't do it. And just literally, I figured something out. There's always a solution. Always, always, always. It's just how far are you going to go to ask the right questions? How are you going to persevere? But I knew that I would find a way to get out of this. And sure enough, we did. We did. And it ended up being one of the best investments I've ever done. So, when things just seemed like they were at the bottom, 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 which they were, it was a way to get creative. You got put into situations that you had to figure out solutions. And you become, you ask better questions when your back's against the wall. You look for different solutions. You get outside the box. And that 2008, 2009 is really what I got out of that is that there's always an opportunity. There's always solution. And sometimes I will say this, sometimes the solution is stop. Just stop. Okay. Don't keep digging, but there's a solution.
Love the wisdom. Taking notes here, and hopefully you are too if you're listening to this and rewind that, right? Because I think right now a lot of people are facing what seems like a lot of big roadblocks, right? And they're about to crash into the car, or they're trying to swerve it from hitting it, and it has to do with debt resetting. It has to do with elections and challenges, and fears and concerns, and all of these different things. But it sounds like perseverance, getting creative, being willing to continue to ask the tough questions, and having a grit, resilient mindset that you've got to succeed. You gotta care enough to dig deep for yourself and for your investors. With that being said, let's dive right into the topic at hand, which is how equity is like oxygen today, and how a lot of people are starving for breath. So talk about what's going on, and where we're at, and this change in the last real 18, 24 months. And then we'll talk about some solutions for people and some opportunities for pref equity.
Yeah, I'll kind of explain kind of where we are today, especially for us. You know, most everybody, if you have not been in the commercial real estate, limited partner, general partner syndication world in the last 10, 12 years, you probably didn't run across anything called pref equity. It wasn't needed, it wasn't required. I mean, money was so cheap, and you had a capital stack. You had your senior debt, whether you're constructing or purchasing, and then you had your common equity, and that was it. And then you had your waterfall, and your payments were made to the sponsors and to the equity. Well, 2 years ago, things started adjusting quite a bit. And what happened, and we all know this. I mean, interest rates up, leverage down, valuations down, rents flat. Perfect tsunami, just to kind of like put the brakes on capital completely. Nothing penciled. All right. Well, that doesn't stop the guys that are building apartment complexes. So these guys, all these developers are out there, and let's say 3, 4 years ago, even 5 years ago, they're taking out construction loans at 3.5%.